Okay, class higher. Good afternoon, class.
Why weren't you here yesterday? Oh yeah, I was sick.
Okay, so what did you guys go over yesterday? What did you learn yesterday? What did you go over? Mateo?
We go over some like how to read like writing.
Writing? So vocab words? Okay. Over the last 2-3 weeks, we've read Across the Alley, we've read Catching the Moon with Marsenia, we read the William Hoy story. What are some things that we've learned from all 3 books? Hector.
We learned about our books is that never give up on dreams.
Never give up on your dreams. Anything else? Nathan.
We learned about segregation.
Learn about segregation. Can you tell me what segregation looks like or what it means?
Segregation is when like one side is white kids and the other side is Mexican kids, and the Mexican kids go to a different school, the white kids go to a different school. The white
Okay.
kids get better.
Question. Is it always just, for example, with Nathan's example, is it always just schools, using schools? Is it always just white kids in one school, Mexican kids in another school, or maybe with William Hoy? Remember, he was deaf. Did he go to a normal school or did he go to a deaf school? Jasmine?
Deaf school.
He went to a deaf school, right? So segregation comes in different ways, and usually you do see it when schools, or for example, using bathrooms. People of color weren't able to use bathrooms that were specifically for white people. Same with schools. Okay? So today's objective is students will be able to show understanding of text by answering comprehension questions. What do you think that means? Students will be able to show understanding of text by answering comprehension questions. So while I'm reading, what does that mean? Daniela? Answer questions that I'm going to ask. What else? Mateo?
Listening to what you say, listening to the story is. If you're not listening, how are you gonna understand how to say the question?
Yeah, so active listening, right? So before we start reading, let's go over some class rules. When you're on the carpet, what should you be doing? What are your expectations when you are on the carpet? Valeria? Or Angelina? Sorry. No talking? What else? Vincent? No doing sign language, no talking to others? Nathan?
No gesturing.
No gesturing? Jasmine?
No playing around on the carpet because it's not like this.
Okay.
But not
Lucas? No nap time? Sebastian? But yeah, we want to keep our hands to ourselves. We don't talk when the teacher's talking. Right, Vincent? Please don't lean on your desk that are in back of you. And we're going to use our ears to actively listen to the story. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the story that we're going to be reading is called Separate is Never Equal. Mr. Sagan, can I project this on it?
Yeah, slide down in the upper right hand corner. Screen screen. So there's 2 screens. And then pick Golden 29. And then click on your screen.
Okay. So let's observe the front cover. Slide higher. Let's observe the front cover. Separate is never equal. by Duncan Tennant. What do you think the story is going to be about? What are you wondering? I'll give you a chance to look at the front cover. What do you think the story is going to be about? What are you observing? What are you wondering? Sebastian? How racism is never equal. Flat tire? So what do we think? What are you observing? What do you think the story is going to be about? What do you predict it might be about just looking at the front cover? Lucas?
In the front cover, that's Sylvia, that's his dad, that's the mother, and those are his brothers. And yesterday we read it was about Sylvia going to the school only for the wife pointed out, and the boy pointed out, you're supposed to be Mexican school. And then they were all
Right there.
I think the story is about if a girl wants to be something, and people in America they were slave owners. People in America probably like next month or next year
Okay. So let's start reading. I'm gonna read the first page all over again. Sylvia had on her black shoes. They were shiny new. Her hair was perfectly parted in two long trenzas. It was her first day at Westminster School. The halls were crowded with students. She was looking for her locker. She was looking for her locker when a young white boy pointed at her and yelled, "Go back to the Mexican school. You don't belong here." For the rest of the day, Sylvia did not speak or introduce herself in her classes. She kept her head down when walking in the halls. When she got home that afternoon, she told her mom, "Felicitas, what happened? I don't want to go to that school anymore." "I don't want to go to that school anymore. The kids are mean." "Sylvia," said her mother, "¿no sabes que por qué eso luchamos? Don't you know that is why we fought?" So her being, I want you to look at the pictures. Her being at this school with the other kids telling her, "Go back to the Mexican school." How do you think that's making her feel? Itself? Sad? Vincent? Xavi? Like what people still say that if she went to a different school in a different country, it's possible. Maybe they have similar segregation rules, right? Lucas?
I have something to say. How is she inviting me to school? She was and I think the reason is because the dad, remember when they were in court and the dad was in the district?
Ah, we'll get to that. We will get to that. Jasmine?
So this is like a copy, but she's actually
Well, she was at Westminster School. Okay. Let's go back. Let's read. Let's continue reading. 3 years earlier, in the summer of 1944, Sylvia had her brothers, Jerome and Gonzalo Jr., and their parents had moved from the crowded city of Santa Ana, California, to a farm in nearby Westminster. I'll wait. Her father, Gonzalo Mendez, had labored for years as a field worker, picking grapes and oranges. Now he was leasing the farm. He was going to be the boss. On their new farm, they were going to grow asparagus, chilies, and tomatoes. Simpson. So you notice specific characteristics in the drawings? Okay. Nathan? Okay. So, Aiden? You think the suitcase will fall? Okay. Flat tire? Sebastian? Ah, so you're making a prediction that you think they're going to meet Aki because the story is about Sylvia. Okay. So we ran into one of our vocab words, labor. What do you think labor means? Lucas? Labor? So a job? Jasmine, sit down where you go. So a hard-working job. So a job that includes hard labor, right? So that can be field work, that can be construction, right? That can be anything that makes you have a lot of physical activity. Okay?
The White House.
As the summer came to an end and the first day of school neared, Aunt Soledad drove Sylvia and her brothers and their cousins, Alice and Virginia, to the local public school on 17th Street so they could enroll. Sylvia was going to enter 3rd grade. Sylvia was going to enter 3rd grade. Gonzalo was going to enter 2nd and Jerome 1st. What a handsome building, thought Sylvia as they pulled into the parking lot. Tall trees lined the street in front of the school. There was a playground with monkey bars and a red swing. When they walked into the school, they noticed that the hallways were spacious and clean. I'm here to enroll the children in school, said Aunt Soledad when they arrived at the principal's office. The secretary gave Aunt Soledad 2 enrollment forms, one for Alice and one for Virginia. But she did not give her enrollment forms for Sylvia and her brothers. They cannot attend the school, said the secretary. They must go to the Mexican school. Why do I have to go to the Mexican school? Sylvia wondered. She was not Mexican. She was American. She spoke perfect English. Her father was from Mexico, but he had become a U.S. citizen. Lucas, please turn around. Her father was from Mexico, but he had become a U.S. citizen. Her mother was from Puerto Rico, which was a U.S. territory. Aunt Soledad was upset, but we all live in this part of town. So they walked into the office. The secretary saw all of them. There was 5 kids. Out of those 5 kids, she saw 2 of them and judged them by the color of their skin and said, I'm only going to give 2 of them permission slips to enroll. Who do you think she gave those slips to? Or on this picture, who did she give those permission slips to enroll into the school to? Who are those on the picture? Vincent? Who are the girls on the picture? Huh? Sorry? Siri? Alice and Virginia? Who are they on the picture? Which one is Alice and Virginia on the picture? Which two? Which stuff? The one in the blue and green? What do you notice about their skin color? Angel? Look at him in blood as well. Okay. Sebastian? Two of them are white, right? So this goes into an example. Flat tire? So this goes to show, can one experience racism within their own culture? How many of you think you can experience racism in your own culture? Raise your hand. I'll ask the question again because no one participated. How many of you think that you can experience racism within your own culture? Raise your hand if you think you can.
I hate racism. Oh, the head.
Okay, hands down. So what's happening here? Why aren't they letting the rest of them get into the schools? Hector? Different color. They're of darker skin tones, right? Jasmine?
Because of their race.
Race and skin color, okay. Daniela? Oh, no, Daniela, I can't hear you. Let's wait for your classmates. Okay, Daniela. Because of their culture. Aiden? Okay, let's move on. Sylvia looked at her cousins. They had light skin and long auburn hair. And their last name was Vidari. Their father was Mexican, but of French descent. Then she looked at her brothers and at her own hands and bare arms. She wondered, is it because we have brown skin and thick black hair and our last name is Mendez? Rules are rules, said the secretary. The Mendez children have to go to the Mexican school. Mendez. I will not be enrolling any of them then, said Aunt Soledad. And she stormed out of the office, taking Sylvia and the other children with her. I'm waiting for it to be quiet. For those of you sitting there nice and quietly, thank you. Lucas, go sit at your seat. Yes, Vincent. Let's wait. When they arrived home, Aunt Soledad told Sylvia's father what had happened. Mr. Mendez told her not to worry. It had to be a mistake. He would take care of it. He was a businessman, and he was used to dealing with people, the next day Mr. Mendez met with Mr. Harris, the superintendent of the Westminster School. Mr. Mendez explained that his family had just moved to a nearby farm. The public school on the 17th Street is the closest school to our house, and my children should attend it. Your children have to go to the Mexican school, said Mr. Harris. But why? Asked Mr. Mendez. He was not given an answer other than, that is how it is done. In the following days, Mr. Mendez met with Mr. Atkinson, the county superintendent, Mr. Harris Superior, and then with the school board, which oversaw all the schools in Orange County. But they all said the same thing. Hector? That's a good guess. Okay, flat tire. Mr. Harris appeared and then with the school board, which oversaw all the schools in Orange County. But they all said the same thing. Your children have to go to the Mexican school. But why? Mr. Mendez kept asking. No one would give him a satisfactory answer. So let me give you a scenario. Room 30, all they do to do their work on this campus is their iPads. The only way this class is going to do their work is with a paper and pencil. You come to me and you ask me, what did they get iPads? And I tell you, that's the way it is.
What? That's not. Okay, I'm gonna tell the person. I'm gonna speak to
How do you feel? Lynn? Mad? Daniela? Because when you write too much, you hurt your fingers? Okay. Vincent? We'll talk about that a little later. That's a good little comparison. We can talk about that later in the story. Nathan? Maybe it hurts your eyes because when you go on it too long. Lucas?
Probably. If they did that, I would
Hold up, Lucas. Your classmates are being rude. Mia. Set up desk. Yes, Lucas?
if they would do that, I would speak to the president of Obama.
So you would go to someone higher up than them? Someone higher up than the superintendent? Okay. Yourself? Jasmine?
It's 2 months from now.
You would go to court? Okay. Okay. That fall, Sylvia and her brothers had attended Hoover Elementary, better known as the Mexican School. On Olive Street in the city of Westminster, the building was a clapboard shack, and the halls were not spacious or clean. Jasmine, Shavi. Everyone knows what the story is about? Okay, flat tire. The building was a clapboard shack, and the halls were not spacious or clean. A cow pasture surrounded the school. The students had to eat their lunch outside, and the flies would land on their food. there was an electric wire that surrounded the pasture to keep the cows in. If you touched it, you received a shock. The school did not have a playground, not even a swing. So let's pretend this is Golden Elementary is an all-white school.
No, it's not fair.
You have the playground, you have the swings, you have the technology, you have the resources you need to get a fair education. Then you drive down the street, there's another elementary school. We can call it Hoover. Hoover Elementary School. No playgrounds. Classrooms are dirty. No iPads.
What? You have to write on pieces of wood.
The fence is an electric fence. What does that seem more like?
Torture. Prison.
Raise your hand. Valerie? Maybe like a prison? Not treated the same? Angelina? A farm? Okay. Vincent? Sit over here. Nathan? Someone's in the restroom right now. Sebastian? Solitary confinement. So do you think, hold on. So do you think because of color of your skin, you should not get the same education as someone else? So we agree it's unfair, right? The Mendes family did not give up. Time and time again, Sylvia heard her father talk with coworkers, friends, and other parents. It's not fair that our kids have to go to an inferior school, he said. It's not only the building that's a problem, the teachers at the school don't care about our children's education. They expect them to drop out by 8th grade. How will our children succeed and become doctors, lawyers, or teachers? Mr. Mendes created a group called the Parents Association of Mexican American Children. He tried to collect signatures for a petition to integrate schools so that all children, regardless of their skin color or background, could have the same opportunities. But every time he asked someone to sign the petition, he would get the same answer. No queremos problemas. We don't want any problems. Many of the parents worked on farms owned by white families that feared they would lose their jobs if they supported the petition. So I want you to turn to your shoulder partner and I want you to discuss something. I want you to discuss how you would feel if you were Sylvia. I want you to discuss how you would feel if you asked for support, but no one wanted to help you because they were scared they would lose their job. How do you think the others would feel being scared to stand up for themselves? Tire. Facing forward if you're not facing forward, please. 7. Is that how you should be sitting? So what did you and your partner discuss? Jasmine? You would make them report tomorrow. So you wouldn't be scared to lose your job. Okay. Give me a second. Sebastian? So I want you to think about something. Is that behavior acceptable? So if that behavior isn't acceptable now, what makes you think that behavior would be acceptable back then? I want you to think about that. If it's not acceptable now, why would it be acceptable back then? Marco?
It wouldn't be acceptable. It would be acceptable back then because back then there was really no rules and
There was rules, but let's just say you decided to kick someone. If you decided to kick someone, let's just say in this instance, someone that is white, who's gonna get in trouble? Who's the cops going to believe? Who's the cops going to arrest? The people of color. So I want you to think about that answer, Sebastian. Because if you were to do that, flat tire, if you were to do that, there would be more consequences for you than that other person. Okay, let's continue. One day, a truck driver overheard Mr. Mendez trying to convince the workers to sign his petition. You know, said the truck driver, you could file a lawsuit. The truck driver told Mr. Mendez about a lawyer named David Marcus, who had filed the lawsuit on behalf of people in San Bernardino and had helped them integrate the public schools there. At that time, not only were schools segregated, but also other public places as well. I'll wait. Sorry, is your conversation more important? The truck driver told Mr. Mendez about a lawyer named David Marcus, who had filed a lawsuit on behalf of people in San Bernardino and had helped them integrate the public schools there. At that time, not only were schools segregated, but also other public places as well, such as pools, parks, and movie theaters. Some businesses even had signs that read, "No dogs or Mexicans allowed." Mr. Mendez decided right then and there to hire Mr. Marcus, even if I meant having to spend all his savings to do so. No dogs or Mexicans allowed in public pool. I want you to discuss with your shoulder partner what that means. What do you think that means? What do you think them calling, when them saying no dogs or Mexicans allowed means? Yeah, first. So that go after. Okay, flat tire. Face forward. Lucas, back to your seat. What did you and your partner discuss? Today, what did you and your partner discuss? Racist. What else? Okay. Lynn? Mateo, what did you and your partner discuss? Okay, the shopping face forward. Okay. How many? I have a question. How many of you are Mexican?
I'm Mexican.
Okay, hands down. Left tire. I'll wait. How does this make you feel? Sebastian? Not good enough? Jasmine? So you want to desegregate this pool? Valerie? Sad? Ahmed? It makes you feel inferior. That's a vocab word. Nice. Hector? Not wanted. Lucas?
I'll get bit angry because that's my dream.
Is that necessary?
I'll get furious.
Ángel, ¿cómo te hace sentir? ¿Cómo te hace sentir que tengan un letrero ahí arriba? Flat tire. ¿Cómo te hace sentir que tengan un letrero ahí arriba que diga no, no perros o mexicanos en la piscina? Flat tire. I'm trying to listen to Angel and I can't hear him. Hey, Angel. ¿Te hace sentir mal? ¿Por qué?
Porque en México tenemos unas piscinas que disponen así como colores. Cada uno se llama unos tienen cortos, otros que tienes para
¿Esos colores qué significan?
eso es respeto para México porque nosotros
Ah, do you hear that? He's saying that it's a lack of respect because we proudly welcome Americans, but they don't welcome us. Thank you, Angel. Flat tire. Over the next few months, Mr. Mendez and Mr. Marcus traveled. Over the next few months, Mr. Mendez and Mr. Marcus traveled all over Orange County looking for people who had experienced similar problems. Someone said. Over the next few months, Mr. Mendez and Mr. Marcus traveled all over Orange County, looking for people who had experienced similar problems. Sylvia watched her father leave early in the morning. Sometimes she saw him come home in the evening. But often, she only heard his footsteps when he got in late at night. While he was away, Sylvia's mother had to take care of the farm. Mr. Mendez would get Sylvia and her brothers ready for school. And then she would go out to the field. She started the irrigation system, drove the tractor, oversaw the workers, and solved any problems that arose. With the help of Mr. Marcus, Mr. Mendez found and talked with other families who were dealing with segregation. One of them was the Estrada family. Mr. Estrada had fought in World War II. He had risked his life next to Americans of all races and backgrounds. But when he returned to America from the war, he found out his children were not allowed to attend school with white children. Es una injusticia, said Mr. Mendez. It's an injustice. The Estrada family joined the Mendez case and so did 3 more families. The families were from different school districts in Orange County. Westminster, where Sylvia lived, Garden Grove, Almudena, and Santa Ana. Mr. Marcus wanted to show that segregation of students affected not only Sylvia and her brothers, but more than 5,000 children in the public school system all over Orange County. On March 2nd, 1945, Mr. Marcus went to the courthouse and filed the lawsuit. The trial was held at a courthouse in Los Angeles. Sylvia had her family dressed in her best clothes and sat in the courtroom to listen. The hearing lasted 5 days. Each day, Mr. Marcus called to stand parents from the different districts in Orange County and superintendents from each district too. On the first day, Mr. Kent, the superintendent of the Garden Grove district, was questioned. He said that he sent children to the Mexican school to help them improve their English. That is a lie, thought Sylvia. Her English was as good as the English of any of the children at the Westminster school. Do you give the children any tests? Asked Mr. Marcus. Mr. Kent claimed he did. We do so by talking to them. That is another lie. Sylvia wanted to yell. No one had questioned her. They rejected her from the Westminster school without asking her a thing. Elena. Well, everyone needs to go to the restroom apparently right now. Okay, flat tire. leave off on page 25.
Guys, we're leaving in 6 minutes.
What is something that you learned today? From this reading, what is something that you have learned today? Sebastian. There was a lot of racism and unfairness back then. Marco?
The thing that I learned from this book was that I do not judge people, like do not judge them by how they look or how they act.
Do not judge people by how they look or how they act. Angelina? I'm sorry, Angelina, I can't hear you. Can you repeat yourself? They didn't get treated equally? Okay. Lucas?
Golden rule, treat others like you want to be treated.
So treat others like you want to be treated. Okay? We should try applying that tomorrow. What else? Xavi? So it's important to integrate people of different color? So, okay. So Shaggy is saying that it's not fair that people of color are separated and the teachers there at the same time expect you to drop out by the 8th grade. So they kind of, don't teach. So tomorrow, we are going to continue finishing reading this book, and then we are going to answer our comprehension questions on Class Kit. Ahmed's table, go get your backpack.
What? We're leaving now.